Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spiked Coffee and Sarcasm podcast. I'm Van.
I'm Kris.
And we are two best friends. We've been best friends for about 32 years, we figured out right before we started recording. And we decided to do a podcast and talk about all the adventures and wonderful things and not so wonderful things we've been through in these 32 years. So here we are.
There have been quite a few. There's ups and downs, and
Very many.
But without the ups and downs, we wouldn't be where we are. And I'm positive that that we needed the downs to put us where we are today. This is a good thing.
I totally agree. So I guess we could kind of talk about or elaborate on that, about what was our friendship like when we met in junior high, 1986, I believe that it was.
Well, if I remember,
I know that.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
It's okay. I believe that my first impression of you was, I didn't like you too much. If I remember correctly.
It was jealousy.
It wasn't friendship at first sight. Oh, okay, yeah, it was jealousy. We'll go with that, if you say so. Yeah, it wasn't friendship at first sight for me. I just, I'm not quite sure, nor do I remember why. I do remember there was quite a bit of blue eyeshadow going on.
It was the 80s.
On your lovely face. Well, I know it was the 80s, but come on now.
And it's funny that you say that, because with my own kids today, I think about that a lot. And my girls are not allowed to walk out of my house looking like a clown, period. They just can't.
No, I don't have girls, but I definitely could understand that. You kind of don't want them to. Knowing what we know back then, we try and, make sure that our kids don't have to go through some of the same things that we went through. We try our best to do that anyway.
Have you ever tried to tell them directly, I know this, you can't do it? Do you know how hard that is? That they don't believe you. They absolutely think you're lying, because parents just
Agreed.
Were born as parents. They were never kids, and they have no idea what they're talking about. But if you make it sound like it's kind of their idea, that whole reverse psychology thing is a great thing. And they actually do kind of believe sometimes. Like, that makes them think anyway.
That definitely works. Well, yeah. And then I always get, if I say something and it turns out to be correct, like I was right, the look on their face is like, wow, you were right. I'm like, funny how that happens sometimes, huh?
It's almost,
since I've been on this earth for 43 years, I kind of know what I'm talking about occasionally.
It's almost like you've done this once before,
Yeah. Yep. But they're just like us. When we were teenagers, we didn't want to hear anything our parents had to say either. They were never cool. They never went through this, and that's exactly how my kids are. So
that's how mine are too. And
we've been there.
It's so funny. I remember we were just having a conversation the other day about when I was in 4th and 5th and 6th grade, my mom taking us to school, and she was in her 30s or late 20s, and I'm thinking at my, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade mentality, she was old. Like, she was my mom, so she was old. And here I am, 43, thinking the 43 is the new 25. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
I'm not old.
I don't feel 43. I know. I don't feel old.
Not at all. Like, I don't.
Well.
Not at all. And there are certain things that.
Until my knee starts to hurt.
Right? Until you can predict the rain by your aches and pains. Yeah.
Exactly.
Until you hang out, like, as you know, my oldest daughter is 22. And when she turned 21, I took her out for her birthday with a bunch of her friends. And I was hip and cool until all of her friends got there. And then I was like, nope, I'm the mom with the purse. It's time. I'm out. I'm not hanging with you. I'm 40 when I'm hanging out with 20-year-olds.
Oh, I work with some younger people.
Right.
And sometimes it's just like, I don't know how. I mean, just their young brains. Like, it's amazing to me the stuff that they can retain and the stuff that they know. And I'm like, I don't even remember being that way when I was in my 20s.
No.
I just don't remember being smart, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I have a few coworkers that are 20 something years old and they are witty and quick and smart, and I'm just like, God, I always tell them, it's your young brain. It's your young brain. I'm telling you, that's what it is.
Well, and you know that's the same, and in on the flip side of that, you've got those people where you're trying to have an intelligent conversation with somebody in their, late teens, early 20s, and it's hard to, like, I have a kid who's 22 years old, but when I'm working with somebody, they're not 22-year-old, same as my daughter, they're my coworker, so they're different.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to have this conversation with a person that is the same age as my daughter and thinking them that they should be older, some of the things out of their mouth is just, what? Did you really just say that? Like,
yeah,
but I do agree with you. Sometimes they say things that are just above where I was mentally at that age. Of course,
sure.
you've got those kids that have gone to college and they've got their degrees and they have no common sense whatsoever. And then you've got the kind that, they're very street smart, but wouldn't know how to build a fire with a match. They're just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Strange little creatures they are.
I do find myself, though, I have to say, I get along better with the younger people that I work with than I do with some of the older people that I work with. And not older as in 20 years older than me, just, a few years older than me. I don't know if I gravitate towards the younger ones, but I have two coworkers that I'm going to an event with in January. It's a podcast that all three of us listen to, and they're doing a live show where we live. And the three of us are going to this. I'm 43, and one of them is going to be 21 in December, and the other one is 25, I think, or 26. So it's like taking my two kids to a show, but I don't relate to them as their mom. I mean, we talk about all kinds of stuff and we get along really great. So I always seem to tend to get along better with the younger ones. Not that I don't get along with the older ones, but I can sit down and have a conversation with somebody who's 20 years old, and it's not me being a grouchy old woman and telling them that they're wrong all the time, which does happen.
Exactly. Too. And so. I'm like that too. Like, I get along, a lot of the people that work where I'm at, they are we're in the same situation. Like, most of the people that I work with are either a lot older than me or quite a few years younger than me, at least within 10 to 12 years younger than me. And I do get along with them a little better than I do the ones that are my own age. And it always seems to me like when I look at people my own age, they seem so old, and I just don't feel that old. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I feel the exact same way. Like, I don't know. I just don't feel like I need to. So, okay, good example of this, because I was just thinking about this the other day in the car. I listen to music. It's one of the things that I love to do, and it's a huge part of my life. I listen to all different kinds of music, but I sit in my car and I I can't sing. I never claimed that I can sing, but I like to pretend that I can.
Exactly.
So I'll sit in my car and I'll bop my head, or I'll be dancing, or singing out loud, or singing with my kids or whatever. And I often wonder that there's people that I have in my life that don't strike me as people who would do that. And I
Right.
think to myself sometimes, am I still going to be doing this when I'm like 50 or 60 years old? Is music still going to have that meaning or
Effect.
whatever to me to where I'm always going to be rocking out, or am I going to be one of those people that listens to classical music or talk radio all the time? God forbid. I mean, I
No.
listen to talk radio occasionally just to know what's going on in the world, but if I ever am only just listening to talk radio and this is something that I let you know, please set me up with a therapist or something, and play me some music that I used to or something, but I
It's
don't
a
want to
deal.
just listen to talk radio all
Okay,
the
so
time.
like so on that same topic, so Mark and I have this couple that we're friends with, and they're just a couple years older than us. Okay, and by a couple years I mean like we're in our 40s and they're probably later 40s. But to me, when I look at them, and him and I have had this conversation before, when we look at this couple, they are the typical grandparents, and they like wear the matching grandparent shirt and fanny
Oh
pack and
gosh.
walk around like we look at them as they're more mentor and older than they are
Like your
our
elders.
age. Yes, they are, and it's so strange that you can look at somebody who's your age or right around your age and feel like you're on a completely different plane than them. They are 100% in a different realm. Like they grew up in a whole different time.
Do
Even
they
if,
have kids?
yeah, they have kids. In fact, their youngest daughter is graduating the same time, is graduating this year. So they are a couple years older than us, but not like they're nowhere near retirement. They've got at least another 15 years. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's along those same lines. It's just people that I know that are around my age or within the same age bracket. I look at them and they just seem old to me, and I don't feel like I'm old. I don't feel like I'm old enough to be a grandma, or even though I have a 22-year-old daughter. I have a
Oh,
17-year-old
I was like,
son. I
whoa.
mean,
I thought you said, like, I know I am a grandma. I was like, wait. Did I miss something here? I thought you were saying you were a grandma. I was like, wait, when did that happen?
no,
I
no,
don't
no, no,
remember that
no. I am not a
conversation.
grandma. I just mean that technically I could be a grandma. I could at some
Yeah.
point very soon be a grandma. I have a child that's old enough to be that. I
Yeah.
don't know. That's old enough to have kids, and I it's so strange to me. Anyway.
So we got a little off the topic of our friendship just a little bit, but um our friendship throughout the 32 years I think has been what we like to refer to it as love hate for the most
Oh,
part
big
up
time.
until about
Most definitely.
yeah, up until about our junior year, which I don't know if we want to talk about that incident on the first episode, but um we definitely there were stints of time in junior high and high school where we didn't like each other, and then we liked each other, and then we hated each other again. And that went on, like I said, up through our junior year. So it's been quite the roller coaster ride, I would say. But I think it's really rare that a lot of people in this generation, especially our kids' generation, that have
Yes.
friends that like we are, that have been in each other's lives since we were young, and I think it's just sad that that doesn't happen anymore, and that's why this friendship to me is like I don't even know how to explain. I cherish it, and which is another reason why I thought doing this podcast would be a great thing, because it's a way for us to keep in touch, which we don't do very often or well, on either
Enough.
part. Yeah, enough. So,
Enough. That was one of the biggest things for me too. I wanted to when the idea of this had come up, my first thought was, "Oh my gosh, this is a great way for you and I to keep in touch." And so I even said that to Mark. I said, you know, we'll get to talk more, and we'll get to every week we get to catch up on something or everything or anything. And I think that that's a great thing. And I agree with you, the generational thing. It seems like kids are just, they're not, I don't know. Like, you brought up when you and I first met that we didn't like each other. And I met you through a friend of yours. I mean, she was your best friend at the time.
Yeah.
And she was super sweet. I remember hanging out with her. And I think that one of the most pivotal moments in yours and my friendship was when she moved away. Of course, that gave way for you and I to become more friends.
Agreed.
Or become better friends. But I also think that as that cycle went on, the things that you and I learned from the time that we met to today, there's so much information that I would love to be able to relay to my youngest daughter who struggles with being bullied in school, and you know, how you can let that go. I mean, to have that one friend you can count on all the time, even though we had a love-hate relationship. I think all the way through junior high, I thought you were my biggest bully because you teased me more than anybody else.
But even so, I can't disagree with that in any way. I was not a nice person in junior high. I was mean.
Yeah, you had your moments. And then on the weekend, we'd hang out and have sleepovers and be best friends again for about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Or until I kicked you out of the locker, because we always shared a locker. And then one of us would always kick the other one out of the locker when we'd have a fight.
Oh, no. It was never one of us kicked the other out. It was always you kicked me out. Because it wasn't until my senior year that I got smart enough to have my own locker.
Oh.
And to have you move into my locker.
I always got the good lockers. I don't know how that ever happened, but I always have the better lockers, so you'd always share with me, and then I'd get mad at you and put all your stuff on the floor and change the locker. I don't even know how we did that. Did we change the combinations? I don't remember how that worked. Didn't we have our own locks back then? I think so. You just changed the lock. Maybe, yeah. This is my I don't remember that crystal either. Lock. So I'm going to put that on right? Here. When we're friends again, we'll just switch this back. Yeah. Oh, goodness. That's so good funny. Times. To relive all that, to relive those moments. Yeah. It's like bittersweet, you know? I mean, I know it was a hard time when we were going through it. But to look back on it now, if we didn't have that, we wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't have matching tattoos. That's true. We would not have matching tattoos. There will be a ton of stories throughout this podcast. Hopefully, if we can, you know, if this does well and we can record a lot more episodes, then we will have a lot of stories to tell. Don't you worry about that. We will have tons of stories. We have many of them. Some of them that Crystal likes to tell on a regular basis about me. And there are a few that I like to tell about her that she doesn't particularly care for. So we'll get into those eventually too. So let's talk about not necessarily New Year's resolutions, because I don't like resolutions. But what are some goals that you have for 2018? Like, what are some of the things you want to change or you'd like to do, or, you know, what are your goals for the new year? You know, so the new year, I have been talking for the last, I can't tell you how long, about saving money. And one of my biggest struggles is the grocery store. Yep, mine too. I am at that stupid grocery store every single day, it seems like. So I have been doing a lot of research lately about how to save money. And one of my goals is that is definitely a big deal for me. Saving money and just spending more time being able to take my kids on a vacation, or
doing something fun with the family during the summer. Just things that we don't get to do as often as we'd like to.
Yeah, I agree. I think the grocery store, I don't go every day. I am pretty good about planning out on Sunday what I'm going to need for the week, what the kids will need. I can plan out a couple dinners. Do I always cook those dinners that I plan out? No. Sometimes we'll go out because we have soccer practice, or I'm just, too tired and I have homework to do or whatever. But I'm usually pretty good about getting what we need for the week. So I don't go every day, but what I would like to change about my grocery store trips is how much money I actually spend at the grocery store. Because I can spend from $100 to, and this is going to sound like measly, like pennies to you, but you have a family of 6 and I have a family of 3. So, but I can spend $100 to $150 a week at the grocery store. And I always try and get it under 100 if I can. Doesn't always work, but I try and get it. Like today I went and it was $133 and I didn't even plan. I planned one meal because my mom's coming into town and I know we're going to be eating out, but she told me the total and I'm like, what the hell did I just buy? Like $133? Are you kidding me? Well, $10 of that was some sushi for me and Nathan. So that's where some of that was, but it looked good. So I wanted it. So I bought it. But anyway, I feel your pain.
See, and my biggest thing is, like, you hear it all the time. When you go to the grocery store, you should never go, number one, you should never go hungry. And number two, you should never go without a list. Mm-hmm. And one of the bloggers that I do watch, one of the suggestions that she has said is that you absolutely for the month, you give a certain amount per person and then add that at the end of the month and divide it. And so when you do that, you divide it up and then you go weekly. Mm-hmm. And you never, ever, 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 ever go back into the store until that 7 days is up. So that's one of the things I need to work on. Another is just how much I spend. I spend way, way too much in the grocery store. But today I went to the store and I bought stuff that, I bought stuff that I needed and I know that we'll eat, and it still came to $150.
I know.
And I had planned meals, and I'm thinking, how in the heck did I do that?
It's
crazy.
It's so easy. It's like, so I tried one time a couple years ago to do the whole couponing thing. Oh my. Let me tell you something. Okay. I admire people who like to do this couponing thing. And I think it's great. But here are my reservations or my gripes about couponing. Number one, I don't want to receive 3 papers. That's too much stuff in my house. Like, I already have a problem with having piles of paper everywhere. Why do I want to get 3 newspapers? What am I going to do with 3 newspapers?
Right.
Second,
right?
I don't have the time to go through if you get 2 coupon books, so that in every paper, that's 6 coupon books, to go through them and cut out coupons. Who's got time for that? And then there's these people who have binders with plastic sleeves that they put all of it. I'm like, this is like being in college. I'm already in college. I don't need to do another college called couponing on the side. That's ridiculous to me. Then, number 3, you can't just shop at one store when you're couponing. You have to go to 4, 5, 6 different stores. No, I am not doing that. I don't care how much I save. I am not going to 3 different grocery stores and then Walgreens and then CVS and then, no, that's ridiculous to me. I'm just not going to do it. Then my last gripe is, where the hell where am I going to store all this shit that I'm getting? Why do I need 4 tubes of toothpaste? Why do I need 14 bottles of mustard? I'm never going to use 14 bottles of mustard. Like, it just, like, okay, yeah, I get it. You can donate it. You can, I'm sorry, but it's just...
But that defeats the purpose of buying and saving money. And not that I'm not into, donating and being charitable and all of that, but here's my problem with couponing. Number one, coupons are only for actual name brand items. And a lot of the stuff, if you can find something at a generic price, like a generic item or a store brand item, that's cheaper to buy it off the shelf at their regular price than it is to use a coupon for the name brand and get it the discount. I would still pay less buying the generic kind.
Well, and most of the time...
And second...
Sorry. Most of the time...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Most of the time with the couponing, you can't just buy one item. You have to buy 3 or 4 of them. I don't want 3 or 4 of them. I want 1. Maybe 2.
Yeah, and that's like, I've had friends that do that they'll be couponing and they say, oh, I went to the store and I bought 75 tubes of toothpaste. Well, I don't need that this week. I mean, when I go to the store to buy stuff, I need the stuff that I need for the week. I don't need the stuff that I need for the next 20 years and only 1 item or 2 items of it. And it's generally stuff like that, like toothpaste and mouthwash and tampons. I don't even know.
Well,
no, I don't have time for coupons either.
And I don't want 7 tubes of toothpaste. If you want to give me 7 roasts that I can cook and we can eat for dinner, then I'll take 7 roasts.
Right.
Or, 4...
They don't even make coupons for meat.
That's the kind of stuff that I want. Like, give me, like, meat is expensive. And, I want coupons for vegetables and fruits because that shit's expensive too. Or deli meat. Like, I want that kind of stuff. I don't need mustard or toothpaste. That's exactly
right. That is... Right? And that's why I don't coupon either. I don't like... the whole idea of having to do the whole cutting out and taking 20 hours out of my, couple of days to get my coupons together and then spending 17 hours in a grocery store. I don't even like spending 5 minutes in a grocery store, much less doing a full-blown extreme couponing, I'm not doing that.
I'm right there with you.
I'm not doing that.
Okay, so one of your new, I guess for both of us, one of our goals for the New Year is to save money at the grocery store. So I guess I just had little stuff like I want to start eating better, like, you always do every year. It's definitely something that I want to try and find something that works and I want to stick to it. I think it's just time for that to happen. And I need a new job, but that can be a whole nother podcast. We don't need to get into that, but I want a new job. I want to eat better. And I just want to pass math. That is it.
You will pass math. I have faith in you.
So what are a couple more? Thank you. What are a couple more of yours before we have to end this first lovely episode of our podcast?
Okay, so that being said, yes, I am the same way as far as eating healthier and stuff. I definitely want to do that. And I want to do that for more than just me. I have, kids in sports and kids that I have, that I have 4 kids and I have one of them who's constantly telling me that he can't drink soda because of this. And I don't let my kids drink soda anyway, very much, maybe 1 a day. But they have said we need something different to drink. And I agree with that. So making sure that we eat healthier and, spend less on the bad stuff for you and more on the good stuff for you. And that is one of the things that she said is the one of the bloggers that I watch. When you go grocery shopping, and even if you're looking at their ads, you're supposed to look at the front page and the back page because the rest is fillers. And you're supposed to go around the outside and not go down the aisles. She said those are ways that you can save money too because all the stuff in the aisles is processed. All the stuff around the sides is your meats and your dairy and your, fruits and vegetables. And stuff. So, yes, I agree with you. Those are some good things, and I want you to pass math too. Because I have a graduation I need to attend in the next few years. It's besides my son.
It's going to be hopefully within the next year and a half. No, I'm done. I want this to be over. I'm ready to be.
Okay,
I'm
then.
ready to graduate.
Then my goal right now is to say that I want to attend your graduation in less than 2 years.
That's perfect. So.
All right, then.
Well, I think we've covered a lot in this first episode of Spiked Coffee and Sarcasm. Oh, well, before we go, why don't we say a little bit, how did we come up with this Spiked Coffee and Sarcasm title for our podcast? I know that we emailed back and forth several different titles that we wanted to use, and I had a friend at work that I had asked, and I think, didn't she say like detox tea or something like that? And then you kind of went the exact opposite of that. And
I say spiked coffee and sarcasm because spiked coffee is what I would like to have in the morning, and sarcasm is your second language.
Pretty much. I would agree.
So sarcasm is a good thing.
That's a pretty good explanation. I love coffee. I cannot function throughout the day without coffee. It is something I will never, ever give up. I don't care if it's on whatever diet I've decided to do. I will never give up coffee. And the spiked part, obviously, duh. And
we all want to do that.
And sarcasm, definitely.
I spike my coffee with creamer right now, but... yeah, and sarcasm, because you know what? Adulting is hard. And if you're not laughing, you'd be crying. So, spiked coffee and sarcasm, that just sounded right. It sounded good.
I agree. All right, well, to end our first episode, let's talk about what we're going to cover or talk about. I don't like to use cover. That sounds more like a news story. But what we're going to talk about, our second episode, we have 2 children who were born 2 weeks apart. My son and your daughter.
Yes.
So they are both now 13, almost 14. So I think next episode we will talk a little bit about teenagers and the lovely creatures that they are.
Yes.
That's the sarcasm part of our podcast.
Yes. Yes. In case you missed that was sarcasm. Yes.
And we'll let you guys know also in the second episode too where you can go to subscribe to us and hopefully get this podcast out there and get a lot of people to listen and just enjoy our little
get some advice. Definitely enjoy our, little commentary here.
All right. Well, I guess that will be the end of our first episode. How exciting. We've been planning this for a little while, so I'm excited that we got it done, and hopefully it will all come together and we can do the second episode. So
absolutely. I can't wait.
We'll say goodbye for now and come back and see what we have in store for the second episode. Bye-bye.
All right. Talk to y'all later, you guys. Bye.